Hey friends, it's Jeanine, your midlife BFF. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a 1-year HRT update. We're going to talk about what it's done for me, what I wish I had known sooner, and we're going to answer some common questions that I receive about HRT. So whether you're curious about hormone replacement therapy, are considering starting it, or just have some questions, you're gonna wanna tune into this video. So before we get too far, I post tons of information on this channel about over 40 fashion and beauty tips, nutrition and fitness, and just in general, thriving through midlife. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to be notified, and I love to chat with you guys in the comments. So comment below with any questions you have, and I'll be sure to get back to you. So let's start with what my results have been after 1 year of being on HRT. Now, what I will say is, for those of you who might be new here, I went into full-blown menopause at the age of 46. It took some time for me to actually start on HRT. I don't know why. You'd be surprised. I'm a fitness coach in the space, but I wasn't really well informed on hormone replacement therapy and that it was something that I could do to feel better and alleviate some of the things that I was going through. I didn't expect to be in menopause in my mid 40s. My mom didn't go into menopause into her late 50s, so it wasn't even a thought in my head. But once I figured out that HRT was an option, which this video is not sponsored by Transcend, but I would like to say it is a company that I get my HRT from. I work with them as an ambassador because I had such an amazing experience. It really was transformative. And they are who I get my HRT from. They were very, very helpful. I will have their information down in the description. I do work with them, and if you use my link, you do get 15% off of for new patients. But again, this is not sponsored. This is just my honest opinion and review on what HRT did for me in the first year. So I started taking it about a year ago. I had already tried to lose some of that initial menopause weight that I gained before going on HRT. So I didn't necessarily go on HRT for weight loss. I gained about 15 pounds without even realizing it, being in menopause, and it went right to my belly. I'll actually pop up a picture of that I took when I first realized that I had put on 15 menopause pounds. I finally stepped on the scale. I took this photo. Now, the photo you see up on the screen, you can't even really tell how much body fat I had accumulated. It was very visceral. And it was a heaviness in my abdomen. It was like in and around my organs, and a heaviness that I never had felt in years. I do have this one picture. It's actually a screen grab of me sitting so that you can see what I'm talking about. When I sit, my organs and everything would kind of protrude forward because of all of that fat that accumulated in my abdomen. That is the result of when you gain weight, when you're in menopause, in the absence of progesterone and estrogen, that body fat accumulates in the abdomen. That is a known thing. So I know if you're listening to this and you are struggling perimenopause or menopause, you're probably like, yep, that sounds like me. It's all going to my belly. It all went to my belly. So before I even knew HRT was an option for me, because of course my general practitioner sent me about my merry way, I started to desperately try to lose the weight on my own. I did this by cardio, an extreme calorie deficit. I had to cut my calories lower than I like to do that. And was I able to get the weight off? Yes, I was able to get the weight off. I'll actually pop up a picture. So full disclosure, this is what I was able to get to before I started HRT. I felt very soft. And although I did feel better, I mean, I didn't have that heaviness in my abdomen, but I felt very soft. I felt like my skin wasn't tight. it's kind of hard to explain. Probably many of you will look at the photos and think, I look fine in the before, I look fine in the after. I get that. I understand. But I think that when I look at these pictures, I look at them more of from a perspective of I know what I was feeling. And so that's what it reminds me of. So I still wasn't feeling good. There I was, I had lost, I think I was in that after picture, I was down to 121 pounds and I started HRT and everything changed. And I did a series on this channel. So you can kind of go back and watch episode 1 and go over all of that. So let's fast forward now to a year. What was I able to accomplish? Number 1, my body recomped. So a recomposition means you lose body fat and gain lean muscle. After 1 year, I was able to drop my body fat from 27% body fat. Last I checked, I'm around 20% body fat. Significant change. I also didn't change a whole lot in my weight. What does that tell you? My body fat came down significantly and my weight is about the same. I sit here today at about 119 pounds, so maybe a 2-pound difference, give or take. My lean mass increased. That is what you want. In this age, as we get older, gaining lean muscle is the key to longevity. So obviously, for health reasons, I just felt so much better. And aesthetically, you can tell the difference between the weight I was able to lose and now on HRT, my overall body composition is significant. I feel stronger. My skin quality feels better. In addition to that, all of the things I was battling are now gone. I sleep amazing. I look forward to going to bed and going to sleep. I don't have mood fluctuations. I'm able to handle stressful situations better. It's like I have a better capacity for dealing with stress and dealing with being busy and just life in general. I mean, when I was struggling with HRT symptoms, even the sound of my husband chewing would be, grounds for divorce. So it just made such a huge impact in how I felt. And that enabled me to pursue, to actively and with excitement, pursue my goals. In terms of that, it was an amazing experience. And I only have one regret. And that is that I didn't do it sooner. I wish I would have known that all of the things that started happening after I turned 40 were because of my hormones. It was perimenopause, the lack of sleep, all of a sudden I couldn't sleep through the night. I just accepted that as if, I'm just a bad sleeper. If I would sit for, maybe an hour or 2 in the same position and I would get up, I would be in a lot of pain, joint pain. I had a lot of anxiety. I struggled with low mood at times. So many different things, but it was kind of like things kept layering on, and I never attributed it to hormonal changes. I should have known, because one of the biggest indicators that there's hormonal changes going on is your cycle changes. My cycle absolutely changed. It was closer together, far apart. It was kind of all over the place. I just had no idea that that's what that meant. And I had no idea that HRT was a solution for me at that time. I mean, to be honest, I didn't even know HRT was a solution if I was in menopause. But I think now it's a lot more common knowledge. But women still think that they need to be in menopause to get on HRT. And that is just not true. So if you work with a company like Transcend, get your blood work done. Let them look at your hormones. Let them tell you what options are available to you based off of your medical history and the current state of your hormones. And of course, last but not least, your symptoms. Because someone might have certain hormone levels and have no symptoms at all. And someone's hormone levels might actually be better and have horrible symptoms. We're all very, very different. So it's kind of like looking at all of those things to figure out what the best recipe for you is to make you feel your best. And that is what I wish I would have known sooner, because I would have done that sooner. I will say, when I embarked on my HRT journey with Transcend, not only did they put me on HRT, but they also put me on Armour Thyroid. Because unbeknownst to me, I had become hypothyroid, which also contributed to the weight gain. And that was a significant impact as well, because on the thyroid medication, it increased my metabolism, making it much, much easier to maintain my weight these days. One of the other symptoms that I had leading into menopause and then after menopause, it got pretty bad, was bladder incontinence. That was debilitating to my life for almost, I would say, a couple of years. It impacted my social life. It impacted my hydration. I literally became afraid to drink water. It was like a domino effect. That's why I think my skin looked so bad and I started to look old quickly. In addition to losing estrogen, not being hydrated, that's gonna impact how you feel. So I really wish I would have known sooner. And I think that's why I'm doing this video today, because maybe some of you are out there and maybe you don't know it's an option. Maybe you have these joint pains or bladder incontinence, or you're not sleeping well, or you're depressed, or suddenly you have anxiety, and you are not thinking that it has to do with your hormones. I know for me, I used to think, how could hormones have that much of an impact? I would think, I'm going to take some estrogen and suddenly I'm going to feel better. Like, I find that hard to believe, but I'll give it a try. Boy, was I wrong. It impacted everything, everything. And it's not like life didn't happen this past year. I had lots of situations in my life that were very stressful and difficult to deal with, but thank goodness for HRT, it made it manageable and I didn't fall into a deeper, darker hole. So now let's get into some of the common questions that I've received about HRT. So one of the most common questions I get is, what do I actually take? Now, I've gone over that in a previous video, so I'll try to remember to link that video up here. I think it was like episode 1 or 2. I actually went into the specifics. But I take estradiol, testosterone, progesterone, and Armour Thyroid. So the testosterone, that one is another common question I get, because a lot of people, maybe they're on some sort of HRT protocol, but not testosterone. So they ask me, why are you taking testosterone? So testosterone in women is going to help you build lean muscle. It's going to help you retain lean muscle. It's going to help with mood and energy. So testosterone is also essential. For some reason or another, a lot of doctors just feel like, because it is normal in menopause to have a very, very low testosterone, they say it's normal, so you don't have to supplement with it. But in my opinion, I love it, and I'm so glad it's part of my protocol. With Transcend, that was just an automatic thing. A lot of times with it just depends on your doctor. So you have to ask your doctor specifically if they will give you testosterone, or test your testosterone, see what the levels are at. Another question I get a lot is, what is the difference between creams and pills and patches? It's just the way in which you take it, right? So obviously the patches and creams are going to bypass the liver. So there are certain reasons and side effects and that people are trying to avoid, that they want to bypass the liver. When you take a pill form, it's obviously not going to bypass the liver. I take a pill form. I don't have any issues or side effects. That is something that you need to figure out with your doctor. What is the best form in which to take it? A lot of times it is largely based on the type of side effects you are taking the hormones to fix. So depending on what those side effects are, there are certain mechanisms that are more effective. So that is a conversation that I would recommend you have with your doctor. One of the most common questions is, should I be afraid about cancer? Again, a lot of the questions in terms of if you're the right candidate and should you be afraid, those are definitely questions that you should have with your doctor, the doctors at Transcend, or your own personal doctor, because it is very person specific based on your health history and maybe your family history. However, I will say a lot of the fears around HRT and cancer are rooted in a study that was done in the 90s, a women's study done in the 90s that was flawed. In the 90s, HRT was regularly prescribed to women without progesterone. So they were prescribed estrogen without progesterone. When they took estrogen without progesterone, it led to a thickening of the uterine lining that increased the risk of cancer in the uterus. And that is what scared people. Well, fast forward, obviously, it's been 30 years since that study. The protocol has significantly changed in terms of HRT, and doctors know that if you are menopausal, you cannot take estrogen without progesterone. Now, if you are not menopausal and you're taking HRT while you're in perimenopause, a lot of times you'll just take progesterone because you still have estrogen, but maybe your progesterone is dropping. That's why your cycle's all over the place. That's why you're getting side effects. But there's been a lot of really amazing studies and more current data that supports, in fact, there are many cancers that are actually, the risk is decreased when you take HRT. One of them is colon cancer. And colon cancer is on the rise. I think it's the second most common cancer right now. And that risk decreases with HRT. There's also other cancers and other diseases. The leading cause of death for women is cardiac disease. The reason for that is because in menopause, in the absence of estrogen, it increases our risk of cardiovascular disease. So by getting on HRT, increasing the amount of years you have estrogen in your body, you're decreasing that risk. So while everything has side effects, everything has potential risks, you really have to just talk with your doctor, go over your health history, go over how your side effects are impacting your life, weigh out the benefits and the risks, and make an informed decision for you. For me personally, I choose not to live in fear. I want to make the years I'm on this earth the best I possibly can. I want to look my best. I want to feel my best. I want to thrive. I'm not going to live in fear of what might happen or what could happen, because I could get hit by a bus if I cross the street after this video. So that is why for me, I made the decision to take it. I think it was a great decision for me. I'm very happy with it. I think that it's just important that you start asking the questions. Ask your doctor these questions. Start documenting your symptoms. Really think about how it's impacting your life. Dig a little deeper into your own health. You have to take control of your own health. Get a second and third opinion. Because if I would have listened to my first opinion, which was my gynecologist, I would have, I'm scared to know of where I would be right now. I definitely wouldn't be on HRT. She sent me home with a vitamin and a pat on the back saying, "You're doing great. You're not overweight like 90% of the people that walk into my office." That is literally what she said. And I said, "But doctor, I'm not feeling good." So make sure you're heard. Make sure your symptoms are taken seriously, and do what's best for you. And if you have any questions about my experience, anything at all that I can help you with, I am an open book. I'm happy to help you. You can comment on this video. You can send me an email. You can find me on Instagram. Many ways to communicate with me, but thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I hope you got something out of it. Maybe you're going to go to your doctor and ask some questions, get your hormones tested. Maybe you're going to become a patient with Transcend. I hope it was helpful in some way, but thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys on the next one.